All right, what's going on, Aggies? This is Colton Chumbley with the other98.com. Here today with former Texas A&M linebacker AJ Hilliard. AJ, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Man, just tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since you left A&M.
Well, I've actually been financial planning at a firm called 49 Financial. I've been here really ever since I left school in 2016. So I'm out here in Austin, Texas. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really passionate about what I'm doing.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. That's great. That's great. So you said you were in Austin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, man. Great. Well, man, I just kind of wanted to reach out to you and, just kind of go back over. You had a really storied career, man. Lots of ups and downs, highs and lows, so to speak. And I kind of wanted to just have you walk through that process for us, kind of from the beginning all the way to the end. What was it really like, as a high school kid when you were going through that whole process of being recruited to play football?
The process was it was a good process. I didn't have any problems. It was a cool experience. Meeting a lot of coaches, a lot of schools being interested. It was nice to feel the love from different schools. The experience of actually going to different states. And actually having that college experience, it was really exciting back then. I actually had an older brother that played in the NFL for a little while.
Okay.
So I was always, kind of expecting for it to be something like that.
Absolutely, a little bit predisposed to it, I guess.
Yeah. So it was a good experience for me. I ended up going to TCU my freshman year, and so I ended up transferring the end of that freshman year to Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's right. So you originally committed to Coach Patterson over in Fort Worth. You committed pretty early on in the process, isn't that right?
So I actually committed to University of Arizona.
Okay, that's what it was.
When I was committed to them my junior year, they actually let go of Mike Stoops, the head coach there.
Okay.
While I was committed, and so as you know, whenever the head coach leaves, really the whole staff kind of goes with him. So I decommitted after that happened. I think Rich Rodriguez took the helm of University of Arizona, and then they did really well. But at the time, I didn't know anything about Rich Rodriguez, and so I decommitted from there my junior year, and then I committed to TCU my senior year, actually.
Okay, gotcha. And so was TCU always kind of a school that was in the mix back then, or?
Can you say that again?
What was TCU kind of a school that was always in the mix?
Yeah. So my senior year, TCU had just got done winning the Rose Bowl, I guess, the year prior.
That's right.
So,
yeah, beat Wisconsin that year. That's right.
Yeah. So they were fresh off of that Rose Bowl. Andy Dalton and all the guys, and so they were actually the best team, the best football team in Texas, and so it was an option to go out of state somewhere and have a good experience somewhere, or I could stay in Texas. And at the time, TCU had the best football.
Gotcha. And I think I guess A&M was kind of going through a little bit of a coaching change at that time as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So whenever Coach Sumlin got hired, Coach Sumlin was actually my first offer whenever I was at the University. Whenever he was at the University of Houston, he was my first offer whenever I was a junior.
Oh, wow.
And so that was a really cool experience meeting him. I always thought he was a great guy, and so he was a huge reason as to me coming over to Texas A&M.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. That I mean, that alone right there is kind of a wild journey, man. Who knew, what you were about to really, buckle up for, so to speak, in those next 4 years. But so you committed to TCU and Gary Patterson. And so can you kind of just from that point walk me through what an average day was like for you as a D1 athlete? Both at TCU and at A&M.
It's a full-time job, so you have to wake up early every day. You got your workouts, your classes, your study hall. So they're really long days, but you just have to fully commit to what you're doing, and so you have to fully commit to school. You have to make sure you're getting good grades, so you can achieve whatever you want to after school. And then, you already know football is that full-time commitment, trying to put your body in the best possible condition and just get better every day so you can perform for yourself, your team, your school, your family, all that good stuff. So it was a full-time thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I could only imagine. Well, what was it really that made you transfer to A&M in the first place then? Because along with that, what was that last season in Fort Worth like, man? Did you kind of already know ahead of time that you were going to try to make a move, or how did that all work?
Yeah, it just turned out that it wasn't as good of a fit that I thought it would be. And so, I loved TCU as a school, and I thought that the football team was good, and it wasn't. I didn't leave on bad terms. It just wasn't. It just wasn't a really good fit. So, having a great option like A&M, it was a pretty easy choice.
Absolutely.
Had I not had that option, I probably would have stayed at TCU because, just like I said, I loved the football team I was with. It's a good school. So.
Gotcha. Well, what was that conversation with Coach Patterson like?
It wasn't bad. He basically told me that he would like for me to stay. That a lot of times freshmen may or may not want to leave their freshman year, and it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
He told me that he would like me to stay, but if I wanted to go, then I'm a grown young man at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's fantastic, man. Well, because a lot of times I guess those conversations don't typically go in that manner. So that's definitely a special situation. So you leave TCU then. You ultimately get to A&M, and you win. Well, obviously you sit out that first year as a transfer, but your first year of eligibility, you win the starting job at linebacker in fall camp, and kind of take me from there.
Yeah, so I had to sit out that sophomore year because I transferred. So during that time, whenever I sat out, I was just working hard, and so I was working every day to win that starting job and to keep that starting job. So coming into junior year, I was planning on having that be my coming out party.
Yeah,
I was really excited.
And for I guess a quarter of football, it really was, man.
Yeah, man. So, unfortunately, I did a lot of hard work because I didn't play for the entire year. I had to just sit on the sidelines without being hurt or anything like that. So, unfortunately, in the third quarter of my first game, my junior season, I broke my ankle from some friendly fire, and I broke my ankle. And so, whenever I went into the locker room. South Carolina's locker room at their training room. I was telling my parents that I was trying to come back to the Alabama game. Like that was the first thing on my mind was just, I think I can come back to the Alabama game. I think that was, I want to say, like 6 games in the season, or maybe 8. I want to say 6. And so, I was just in my head in that training room, just thinking like. It's okay. It is what it is. Like whenever my parents came in, I just looked at them, they looked at me, and we just shook our heads. Like it wasn't,
Yeah.
That's just kind of how me and my parents are. And so, from then on, every day I was working to get back by Alabama game. And so, whenever that time came, my injury was a lot worse than we had assumed. It was dislocated in more places than we assumed. Whenever the accident first happened, and so I lose the entire season.
Yeah.
And so, that's how that went.
Man, that's definitely tough, dude. That's actually kind of segueing into my next question. Is What exactly is that like battling through injuries at the Power Five level? I mean, I know that there's so much that goes on around that, and pretty difficult circumstances considering the pressure that's kind of put on you and the training staff to rehab and get you back on the field as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great training staff. Matt Key worked with me a lot. Dallas. Uh, there is a good few guys that that really cared about making sure that I was going to be coming back healthy and ready to go whenever that was. Whenever it was at that time, and so. But as far as the pressure, I mean, it was just really unfortunate, man. Especially because we needed a lot of help on defense. It would have been amazing if we had if we didn't have any problems on defense around that time. But so it was hard to watch.
Absolutely.
Knowing that I could be there and helping out my team, my school that I loved, and I just couldn't do it. And so it was really hard to watch. But as far as the pressure, I mean, for me, there was no pressure because it wasn't like I was choosing to sit out.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or like I can tough it out. It wasn't like one of those things. So it was just really unfortunate. That's all I could really say about that specific injury because my ankle was just broken half, and so it was kind of like my bones have to heal, my ligaments have to heal. So it was just really tough.
Yeah, I can imagine, dude. How exactly does your day-to-day routine change then? I mean, you talked a little bit before about how that's a full-time job. I mean, is there anything in particular? I mean, I guess while everybody's practicing on the field, you're in the training room, rehabbing. Is that just kind of how that works, or?
Yeah. So whenever that happened, I had an extra 4 hours of rehab every day. So during practice. And like in the earlier stages, I wouldn't be doing anything. So like whenever I first had surgery and stuff like that, I wouldn't do anything at all. So
man, that's brutal.
It would be after a couple months. So I forget when the exact marker time frame wise was, but there was a marker where I can actually start walking and all that good stuff. And so whenever I can start walking, I can start doing upper body stuff, and so I kind of ease into it, but. To answer your question, it's really like 4 hours of rehab. Whenever I could start walking and start doing, upper body stuff, and I could start doing some kind of stationary lower body stuff.
Yeah.
Just different rehab stuff like that. So it was a lot of extra work outside of our practicing. I would have to come in early in the morning and come multiple times a day just getting rehab in. So. Unfortunately, with my injuries, I had to do a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Always catching you in the training room and things like that. Well, I guess once you finally did get healthy, though, and you're back on the field, then we bring in John Chavis to replace Coach Snyder. So, man, what was that like playing for so many different defensive coordinators in your career? Is there a certain sort of adjustment that you had to make with each one, or how do you go about that as a player?
No, not really. They're both great defensive coordinators. Really, for me, it's just a matter of just being coachable. They both have different personalities, but they're both great people. Aside from just coaching, they both really care about us as players and as people. They care about our well-being outside of football. So I feel like those are the foundation of having a good relationship between coaches and players. And so for me, it was very easy. Coach James was a great coach, and Coach Snyder was a great coach. Unfortunately, Coach Snyder couldn't stay longer. He was a great guy, great coach, and same with Coach Chavis. It's really unfortunate that just like what I said earlier with the Arizona situation, whenever the head coach goes, everyone goes. So it's just really unfortunate whenever the coaches are they really care about the players
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, AJ, I got one last question for you, brother. Then we're going to go ahead and let you go. Dude, so if you had to choose, just one memory of your time in a Texas A&M jersey, man, what kind of is your Hall of Fame moment? What's your favorite memory of all time in a Texas A&M jersey?
My favorite memory uh, actually was, when I was playing. I wore the jersey many times, being hurt on the sidelines or during my transfer year. But it was whenever we beat Arkansas my senior year. I forget the score, but we only beat them by one touchdown. It's really funny how almost every single year we play Arkansas, it's like an overtime game. Jerry World. But yeah, it was Jerry World. We ended up beating them by like a touchdown or less, and it was just a really big game. And so there was a lot of pivotal plays. I ended up getting a fumble recovery in the fourth quarter. It kind of ices it, and so
Yeah.
that was a really good experience. I got to celebrate with the guys the year prior. Whenever I was hurt, I was just watching. So like I went to the game at Jerry World, but like I was watching, and so like I just see them celebrate like on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like I was really excited at that time the year before, but I couldn't really experience it the way I wanted to. So just being a part of it that year, that was really special for me.
Oh, absolutely, dude. And that atmosphere alone inside Jerry's World is just very special environment. And so, and I remember that game. Isn't that the year was it Kirk that scored the winning touchdown? Right? No, in overtime, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right, man. Yeah, that's definitely an all-timer. Definitely an all-timer. Well, hey, man. Anyways, AJ, really appreciate you taking the time today, brother. We hope to see you around Aggieland soon, and I know our subscribers are really gonna love, just getting this insight of, the ins and outs of what your career was like, man.
Well, man, I appreciate you having me. I'll definitely be in conversation soon.
All right, that sounds good, buddy. Appreciate it.